Good morning, friends. How lovely it is to be here with you today. Thanks for joining Journey Home Meditation for our morning sit. I'm just looking out the window at the rain coming down and just feeling a lot of gratitude and knowing I'm very happy to be here today. I truly am. You know, there are seasons for everything, I think, and that's not a new idea. We've heard this metaphor and this analogy many times. But I think about the way that I think about the world, and it all is so particularly nuanced to our desires, our needs, our level of safety. All of these things play into the way that we think about our world. And I'm shared a thought that on social media that said, the way I think about the world does not tell you anything about the world, but tells you about me. Something like that. And it, of course, was met with disagreements and people wanting to weigh in on that. And I thought that that was pretty funny because everybody's thoughts about the post about thoughts told me about them and where they are in their life. And oftentimes we say that as a pejorative. We say things like, you know, you're telling me more about you than you are about the person you're talking about, or whatever it is. And we're saying it as a way to denigrate a person, as a way to bring somebody down. And I don't feel that way. I think that our thoughts are beautiful. I think that the fact that we have this ability to be both in the same room at the same time and have completely different experiences happening within our bodies about how we are relating to the world and to one another is pretty amazing. So I can see how, if we've taken on this notion that your thoughts are always wrong or always bad or always self-centered, even if self-centered is a bad thing, I could see how people would want to reject that idea, that the way we think of the world is less about the world and more about ourselves. But I think it even points more to that having some truth to it. What I reject in the world is about me, and that's okay. What I love in the world is also about me, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that when something is about me, I am not fully in relation to everything in the world. And it doesn't mean that it's not also about you or others. We have the ability to both have an individuated thought and an incorporated being. I guess there's probably an easier way for me to put that. We can have our own experience of what's happening and still have a shared experience at the same time. The recognition of oneness does not mean sameness. Oneness and sameness are not the same thing. These are not analogous. I can just as easily and importantly and preciously share an experience of the fire from where I sit, and it be different than from where another sits, even if we're sharing the fire. And it's so vital that we can understand that all of our experiences in any moment are going to be inherently different, even if we are having the same shared experience. And when we start to move into this place of feeling dejection, like, uh, or rejection, because things in the world are not as we hope they are, I think it's important to remember that the things in the world are larger than we are. That doesn't mean that we stop caring. It means that we care deeply about the things we care about. And if there is an insistence upon a shared vision of the world, let that shared vision at least have room for something we don't understand. And I'm finding in my life that I'm really appreciative of the things I do not understand. Um, I am beginning to recognize that my insistence upon understanding in my youth was a safety mechanism for me to feel okay in the world. I'm beginning to look back and recognize that knowing the answer was vital to the existence of my identity and protection of myself. I'm not suggesting that it's something I had to do, but I did not know that. I did not know that I did not have to know. uh, I did not know that it's okay to say I don't know and to revel in the I don't know, to flourish in it and to be able to be comfortable with it, let alone be able to share the unknown, share this space of not knowing. It's really a magnificent experience that I'm having with this, as I start to understand my motivations for some of my behaviors over time and how that's shifted and changed, and my perspectives of the world. The world's very big. Uh, the world's very big. Um, I'm reminded of that line from Hamlet. Uh, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. So when I start to think that this is the way the world is, I just allow myself to understand that this is just the way I am right now. And I can change that. It doesn't mean that in changing the way I see the world changes. It doesn't mean that if I ignore climate change, it goes away. That's not what's being suggested in any way whatsoever. What's being suggested is to leave myself open for not knowing. There's a lot in the I don't know. There's a lot there. And that's about all I wanted to get into this morning as far as my thoughts. I would love to start bringing people into this conversation in this format. And I now have the ability to do that with this service that I purchase to stream this content. I can bring live guests on much easier now. So if you're interested in joining the conversation, uh, I would be happy to have that conversation with you. So you can message me at journeyhomemeditation@gmail.com. Um, and you may notice that I'm no longer streaming on some uh, aspects of Facebook. There's just a couple of places where we're stream on Facebook, and that may eventually go away as well. Um, but we are also streaming every time we stream on YouTube. So if you can find Journey Home Meditation on YouTube, um, you can follow that and subscribe and sign up for email notifications or however it is that you choose to do that to know when we are going live. Our schedule is a bit erratic this last year as we have some things going on in our lives that keep us quite busy. But as we get our footing, we will be able to have more set schedules, which will allow me to have a more steady schedule of being able to arrive in the mornings with this shared practice. Um, but I thought maybe today we could get into a little bit of a poem. I want to take my time with this poem because I think it's really beautiful um, and deserves its space. And I was thinking maybe we could even find some lovely background sounds to accompany this poem. This is a poem by Mary Oliver, which, of course, you can almost always guess that if I'm going to read a poem, there's a good likelihood that Mary Oliver is the poem I'll be reading. Um, but this is a poem called Evidence. And I think it's appropriate for this time that we're experiencing collectively and individually in this country of the United States of America. Where do I live? If I had no address, as many people do not, I could nevertheless say that I lived in the same town as the lilies of the field and the still waters. Spring and all through the neighborhood now there are strong men tending flowers. Beauty without purpose is beauty without virtue. But all beautiful things inherently have this function: to excite the viewers towards sublime thought. Glory to the world, that good teacher. Among the swans there is none called the least or the greatest. I believe in kindness, also in mischief, also in singing, especially when singing is not necessarily prescribed. As for the body, it is solid and strong and curious and full of detail. It wants to polish itself. It wants to love another body. It is the only vessel in the world that can hold, in a mix of power and sweetness, words, song, gesture, passion, ideas, ingenuity, devotion, merriment, vanity, and virtue. Keep some room in your heart for the unimaginable. There are many ways to perish or to flourish. How old pain, for example, can stall us at the threshold of function. Still, friends, consider stone that is without the fret of gravity, and water that is without anxiety, and the pine trees that never forget their recipe for renewal, and the female wood duck who is looking this way and that way for her children, and the snapping turtle who is looking this way and that way also. This is the world. And consider always, every day, the determination of the grass to grow despite the unending obstacles. I ask you again, if you have not been enchanted by this adventure, your life, what would do for you? And where are you with your ears bagged down as if with packets of sand? Listen, we all have much more listening to do. Tear the sand away and listen. The river is singing. For myself, I have walked in these woods for more than 40 years, and I am the only thing, it seems, that is about to be used up. Or, to be less extravagant, will, in the foreseeable future, be used up. First, though, I want to step out into some fresh morning and look around and hear myself crying out, "The house of money is falling. The house of money is falling. The weeds are rising. The weeds are rising." Thanks for joining this morning, friends. We'll try to get back together again sometime soon. If you enjoyed that poem, you can find it as Evidence, a poem by Mary Oliver. I don't have any copyright or ownership of that poem, but I think it's okay that we share these things. I'm reminded of Adrian Rich, who said, "In times like these, I believe it's important that we talk about trees." The weeds are rising. Audio.